Hey guys, Set Zero here. I want to show you guys how I patch into a song pretty much, or just show one of my patches in my typical starting things. That didn't make any sense, but we're going to go with it. Okay, first off, I want to make sure that my case audio, what I mean by case, I mean this guy, which features the Mother 32 by Moog, the Behringer Neutron, Pam's New Workout, Expert Sleepers Disting, the Pico Sequence SEQ, Intellijel Mixup. Over here is the Doepfer A-119. This guy I never used, but it's cool. It's called the Yomo Div2. Pico Drums, my best friend in the world. The Synths Black Hole DSP2, and the HPO, which pretty much is what is getting the audio out to my system. So first off, I make sure that's plugged in. This HPO is pretty much the end of my system, and I'm plugging it right into a mixer over here. Just can't see it that well. This mixer over here is called the Korg Volca Mix. It pretty much is my command center for mutes and volume changes. I thought it was called the H2O, I know. It looks like it. H2O. Yeah, the HPO stands for headphone out, HPO. Made by ALM Busy Circuits. A good little module. Nice. I'm going to move my cables. Hang on. All them cables, guys. Put them over here. We'll start hottie, no worries. Stream brought to you by Cat Skull Electronics. I don't know where my sticker is right now. Okay, so we have pretty much everything in place for one of my patches. We're gonna get started. Typically what I do is my main source of clock information or anything that pretty much has a sequence or anything that has a trigger is all done by this right here. This is Pamela's New Workout by ALM Busy Circuits. I love Pam. She's my best friend along with this, but my real best friend's Pam. There we go. I want you guys to be able to see better. Okay. So Pamela's New Workout controls all the clock information. Pretty much everything that is timed is all done from this. And there's one button that pretty much starts and stops the whole thing, which is really exciting. So first, absolute first, I want to make sure that that is triggering my main sequence. So my main sequence... My main sequence, what I mean by sequence is pretty much a continual pattern, right? A sequence is a pattern of some kind. And the Mother 32 has a sequencer built into it, and I can run it with Pamela's New Workout. Not a lot of people do this, but this is just the way I do it. I have my preset usually on this channel, and I have it go into the run stop input. Pretty much what that will do is when I push play, it will run every time the gate is open, or every time this little light blinks on number 5. And so when that turns on, it advances the beat forward, advances the sequence forward by 1. So right now you'll see it blink doot, 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 because of what's going on here with this little blink right here above this this patch cable. If you guys can see that, it will advance along here. I usually have like an 8-step sequence, or I might have a 16-step sequence, depending. Or 32 or 60 or 48. 8, 16, 24, 30. 32. This can do 32. 32 steps. And so that will advance it, and it will also do my gate for this, which pretty much is allowing it to pull out noise. The nice part is the Mother 32 has its own normaled system in here. So what I mean by normaled, meaning that if I pretty much play on this, it will make noise. And so if I have a sequence going, it does everything as its own synthesizer, which is rare for Eurorack modules. Usually you have to have a VCO that goes into a filter that's triggered by a envelope, that's triggered by a clock, and then eventually an output to make it all happen. So for me, though, this is how it's going to go. Right now, I'm going to turn down the reverb. We get just pure sound here. I'm going to plug that into what's called my Mixup, which is a mixer. From that mixer, I'm going to go out of the mixer into the headphone out, the HPO. And the mixer gives me a stereo feed, which is very, very good. Stereo feed, left goes to left. You guys will hear it right now. And the right goes to right. You guys won't hear much of a difference right now because I don't have any stereo signals happening right now. So right now I just have this patch going, right? And it's fully modifiable by what I'm doing here. So pretty much all this is meant for that one sound, right? This is just doing one sound. Which can be pretty helpful. So from there, I continue on the patch. Typically, I like to put this through a delay or a reverb unit, which in this case is the Black Hole DSP2. So I'm going to unplug that. Say goodbye. Okay. Then I'm going to take this out. This is called the VCA out. That pretty much is the main source of the entire synthesizer. I'm going to plug it. I don't know if you can see it on screen, but right here is the input to the left. I can do a right input, but I just do left, which gives me one channel in, but gives me two channels out, which gives a stereo image of something going on. So when I plug this into here with the left and I plug in the right, right now it's muted, so you're not hearing anything, because on the HPO I can trigger mutes, little switches, but as soon as I turn this on, you'll hear a delay. We'll do this delay. You guys will hear, actually no, first I'll show you the dry signal. Okay, there's a dry signal. And then I can modify the entire signal chain of this synth to add more stuff to it, such as delay, by just turning this dry wet knob. Is that coming through, or is the gate freaking out? Hang on, let me lower that gate. There we go. This one's getting dry. Sorry about that. So you guys will hear that delay. Adds a nice texture to it, right? Then as I keep modifying this one synthesizer, it changes the whole image. Isn't that nice? The gate's going bananas, I know. It's good now. I think you're on a delay, but you'll hear it. But now it should be good, right? Does that sound proper? Can you guys hear that okay? Let me just make sure that the gate's not freaking out again. Okay, cool. That should be good now. That should be on for like the whole time now. You guys can hear all the little details. So anyway, so that's pretty much how this goes. Do you use Volca Mixer because it uses TRS inputs? I use a Volca Mixer for convenience more than anything. It actually has 3.5 millimeter inputs. Let me go over there. Hang on. Just can't see it that well. Let me get a light. So these are TS inputs, or it can be TS, but it can be TRS, but they're 3.5 millimeter. And so the Eurorack can plug straight into here, but also up here with the Volca FM and the Volca Sample, they all plug in over here too with a 3.5 millimeter, which is really helpful. And so everything is pretty much mixable. So that makes it really nice for especially the Eurorack world that has, you know, all that going on. You always have problems with TRS for sound output. Yeah, it gets tricky with that. The nice part about the Volca as well, the Volca Mix, is it actually has, I'll turn it back to it. You'll notice right here, these are actually RCA outputs. And those, I have a RCA to TRS adapter, which goes down here. No, you're fine, dude. Seriously, I want this to be interactive. So right down here is this TRS patch bay. And it's already normaled into this TRS patch bay. So all I have to do is just plug it all in and off we go. So, yeah. Seriously, don't even worry about interrupting. I'm happy about that. Don't worry, dude. You're so good. Anyway, so, yeah, we'll pretty much keep going. So right now I've just got this one source. Sounds fine. Now I want to add bass. Almost, I'd say 95% of the time, my bass signal comes from the Neutron. Almost always. It's just how it goes. So pretty much we're going to get that factored into here too. And right now I use another sequencer for that. That's the Pico Seq. That's right here. And it can save sequences. It can create new sequences. It's really helpful. It's in a really small module, so it's really nice to have that around. It can do up to like 16 steps. I only do 8 every time. Time to add the girth, exactly, the bass. So we're going to do that right now. Right now I have a pre-saved sequence on it. So we're going to go ahead and use that sequence. And as soon as I plug this in, it will go, pretty much it'll start that sequence. Dun, 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 dun. So right now that is the start of the sequence, and it's going to go through that sequence that I have it pre-programmed at. And once again, I can program to do whatever I want. Right down here is a CV output. We're going to plug that in. I don't know if you can hear me. We're going to plug that into the oscillator VCO pitch adjustment. And this right now is tuned, for the most part, to C, the note C. And so as soon as I do this, it will take whatever I want it to I want the sequence to be. So in this case, it usually starts off with D. I think that's what it is right now. For the bass, it's really simple for me as well. I take just the VCA out, just like I do with the Mother 32. I plug it into its own source. Right now you're gonna hear nothing, just because there's no trigger right now. So we're gonna get a trigger going. That's gonna come from Pamela's new workout again. So as soon as I plug this in, you're gonna hear noise. So pretty much there you go. There's your bass notes. And all that is controlled just on its own. So there's really not much complexity going on right now. I know Pam, hi Juicebox, welcome. Pam's pretty much controlling everything, but yeah, it's all inline stuff going on right now with these two synthesizers. So we continue on the patch. Right now, I'm pretty satisfied that I have these two going on, right? I have a sequence of the bass, I have a sequence of the higher synth or the melody, and the bass is kind of acting as a rhythm section, right? Everything's modifiable. It's a nice part about having like a semi-modular synth is that it's already in line, built to do something. And then I can just modify it from there. And so there's all kinds of modifiers that I can do. And obviously you guys have already seen this guy right here. I can say, hey, this little blink light, this is an LFO. Turn it down a little bit. You just can see it kind of going on and off right here. Going like a slower on and off. I can have that signal affect my my delay. So as soon as I plug this in, you're gonna notice it's gonna go in and out the same way that this is lighting up. You guys will hear little details coming through. So every time that little red light lights up, you guys see that? It's basically causing this guy to like start doing something. It has a really cool patch that I like to go to a lot that allows for a higher, like it modifies the pitch of that sound. So I'm gonna hit this and it's gonna turn it higher, you'll notice. You guys will notice that now, right? It's a little abrupt, but I can slow it down. So as I keep patching, I can do more and more of this kind of stuff. And then we keep on going. We just keep on patching from here. We just keep on adding more to it, adding more texture, more layers. So for instance, I actually want this to affect the feedback. Instead of the wet dry, the feedback is pretty much going to give it more delay or not. Anyway, so oscillators. Turn down because it's getting loud now. Let's turn the filters down. So oscillators, technically there's only 3. Yeah, it's the right way to ask, totally. There's one built into the Moog Mother 32, and that's your one oscillator. So that's one voice. Then I have 2 built into the Neutron. Let's see if I can solo them out. So right now I've got 2 oscillators. One of them is doing my higher. This is my higher bass line, and I combine it with a lower bass line of the same key. Sounds really gritty because I like that grit. But this is nice because it has 2 oscillators. I can mix them both together, so it has that strong sense. What I could do totally is I can get another sequencer, which I have another sequencer somewhere around here, and I can have a third voice come in, so I can change this to modify something completely different, which is really cool. So like I can have it just affect now. This is a fully autonomous oscillator, and this one's just doing what I told it to do before. As long as I just patch it into the corresponding area, they can sync together, which is what I like to do. I hope I'm making sense. I'm blasting through all that. But basically, I can have up to 3 voices going on at the same time and sequence all 3 voices to do something different. And so the helpful part is yeah, I mean, can I have 3 voices at once, or are there other sound generators? The nice part is these are the main sound generators, but thanks to like this Black Hole DSP, I gain additional voices. Because right now this is what you should be hearing from the Mother 32 only, but I'm generating pretty much more voices with this as a delay itself. So it's like pretty much like technically I could have 4 voices. This actually does have a drone system too, so I can use it as a synthesizer if I wanted to. It's a little wonky. I'm not ready to try that out yet, but yeah. Anyway, so this whole everything's modifiable for these two sound sources for the most part, you know, which makes it really nice. But what's really cool is I can start patching in, let's say this LFO up here, you see this blue blinking light up here, that's an LFO, and an LFO pretty much is a modifier, right, of sound. To make it sound real crazy, I'll plug the LFO out into, it's gonna sound really wild, just before warning you. This is gonna change the sound of the synthesizer drastically. You guys hear that? So this LFO is causing this guy to do something completely different. Actitech, what's up, man? So yeah. So I can start modifying everything at this point, which is really exciting. How's it going, Actitech? Good to see you, man. So yeah, it gets exciting. You know, I can keep on adding more layers to it and everything. So that's mainly it for synthesizers, and I can start, you know, changing the way they sound and do all kinds of stuff. I can start modifying things with Pamela's new workout, something that I do a lot. You guys will notice this. This has what's called a quantizer, and I have it going to every fifth. And so as soon as I plug it in, it changes it completely. But it changes to be every fifth, so it's still somewhat in tune, which is really helpful. So I just keep on adding and adding different modifiers to change the sound. So the drum sequencer plugged into PAM? Yes, it is. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up. Divide that clock. Yeah, exactly. So now that we have that going on, I'm going to bring you guys back over to this little guy. So right here is my main drum module, which is the Volca Sample. What's really nice about it, it just acts as a sampler. And so PAM is amazing. I love PAM. And so I have PAM going out a signal, pretty much, just a clock signal. And I have the signal in, this is the sync in port of the Korg Volca Sample. I have that plugging straight from PAM straight to it. And so you guys will see, this is following the clock of PAM, which is all done by this little yellow button. Everything starts and stops with PAM. So I'm gonna stop the whole train here. Wait. So the whole train is stopped and started by this little yellow button right here. And that includes the drums. As soon as I push play, everything goes into place. Ready? Little yellow button. So PAM is my main source of everything. Everything starts with PAM. And that controls literally everything, which is so helpful. It's insane how helpful that is. And then, something that I haven't done yet is added probably my favorite effect in the universe, which is reverb. And I have that going from the Volca mix that as a send out, which is right here. The send is going out. Yeah, so Actitech, going back, PAM's clock is much better than the Volca mix clock, I think. It works, but PAM controls a lot more for me, so PAM is just more convenient. So from there, though, this little knob right here, you guys can't see it that well. Hold on, I got you. So So right here, you'll see it's a little knob. Pam is my main squeeze, yes. Don't tell Late Night Juice Box that. So right here, this little guy is a send effect, and that send is going out into my patch bay and going into my reverb unit, which is called the MX300. It's it's by Lexicon. The camera doesn't go that low, so you guys can't see it, but it's a rack-mounted reverb, pretty much. So as I turn this little knob up, you'll notice a change in audio. Here we go. That expands everything. Gives it that really nice soaked feel, just adds this whole different tone to everything. And honestly, the reverb with a Moog Mother 32 is just so good. It sounds amazing. You guys can hear. I'll turn down the delay, and we'll just have the Moog, only the Moog going into it. So we'll turn off the bass. All you're hearing right now is just one source going into reverb. Reverb off, reverb on. I mean, it's just so pretty. Like I said, nothing else. It's just these two. That's it. Or just the Moog and reverb, and it's just changes it. And then I add in the delay. Yeah, exactly. Synthgasm is right. Just adds so much to it. And then turning up the bass now, which the bass is going through the reverb, mind you, which is really unheard of. So yeah, and then from there I just add more and more drums to the mix. I have presets, so it makes it easy. Add a little reverb to the drums, because why not? Just adds a whole new element to everything with reverb, man. And then from there, we just keep on going. So I'm putting on mute, we're gonna keep on going. So there you have it. It's kind of how things go in my head. Kind of like a little patching tutorial, if you will. Like I said, I wish my camera was wider and oops, I just hit it. But hopefully that gave you some insight of how some of this works. I mean, if you guys can tell, I mean, there's really not a lot of patch cables here right now. I mean, you know, considering how much there could be, these semi-modular synthesizers, so the Mother 32, the Neutron, they give me the ability to use a lot less patch cables and do some more stuff with them. And they're very, very well built. I like both of them a lot. The Neutron I have issues with. If you guys heard middle of the song, I was having issues tuning the Neutron. And it's a lot less modules, exactly, Actitect. Yeah, it's a ton less modules. I mean, I'm able to create full songs. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's a very efficient thing. It's able to create full songs and full songs I feel, you know, good about in a lot less space. I mean, sure, would I love to have a wall of modules? Absolutely. One day, when I get the money, when the whole world starts paying me, you know, really good money, then yeah, I'll get the full-blown thing and I can really do some more stuff. But this is my style of music. This is the way I do things, and it just fits. You know, I mean, really, it used to be just this case, and I just added some of these just recently, and I might change these out and whatnot. But regardless, for the most part, this is kind of what my world is, you know, in a lot of ways. A day in the life, exactly. So it's helpful. It's helpful to have, you know, a lot of the stuff doing a lot of the work for me, and there's a lot of pros and cons of that, right? I mean, someone that has tons of modules can do a lot more intricate things that I can't do, but at the same time, I'm sure I could, you know? Like these are built really well where I can patch in and out of things and make things happen. And that's the beauty behind the Mother 32 and the Neutron when it comes to the actual voicing. And then Pam, of course, Pam is just the best. I love Pam so much. Because as soon as I want it to, when I'm done with everything, one button. That's it. One button, turn the whole thing off. It's beautiful.